Hey guys, welcome to Of Course It's Miracles, A Course in Miracles. I'm your host, Candace Johnson. Today we are going over the weekly energy forecast for May 10th through May 15th. That's 6 lines in the I Ching and Human Design, covering the theme of the week in Gene Keys, I Ching, Human Design, and a little bit of the Sabian symbols. If you're new here, I'll explain a little bit further, but welcome to your weekly forecast. Let's go. Okay, so this weekly report highlights the major energetic themes drawn from the I Ching, the Human Design, and Gene Keys. You'll also receive daily insights that explore each of the 6 lines in the hexagram currently activated by the sun, alongside the Sabian symbols and energetic guidance for how to move with the flow of each day. Now, this is just an overview for the week. If you want to go deeper, subscribe to our Google Calendar for real-time insights and guidance. Sync to the sun's daily position and the moon's position, helping you align with the energy of the moment and embody the wisdom of the chart. So every week I go in and I break down each day a portion of the energy of the 6 hexagram lines that are connected to the I Ching, Human Design, and Gene Keys. And I'm going over the Sabian symbols. So we're looking at the sun's degree every single day as it moves through the chart. And as you can see here, if you are watching this on YouTube, the sun starts off at 20 degrees in Taurus, and by May 15th, it'll be at 25 degrees of Taurus, and that covers I Ching number 23, splitting apart, mountain over earth. We've got yang, yin, yin over yin, yin, yin. That's the energy that we're dealing with all week long. Because you read the I Ching backwards, it is going to be 5 more yin days before we get to this breathing yang day, I'm very curious about the difference of energy between a yin day and a yang day now that I'm working on this exercise. The best way to do this is if you are synced with the calendar, you go in every afternoon and just kind of debrief the day based on what the energy said. How did it relate and what did you learn from that experience? It's been really cool to follow along very closely with this energy and see how it shows up or manifests in real time. And I'm going to do a debrief about this, I think, next month. I'm still gathering data, but I'm finding it quite fascinating. So I hope you are too. If you want to subscribe to this, you can obviously do so at the link in the description. All you have to do, it's just a Google Calendar. It's so cool because you can just quickly go in and look at it. If it's cluttered up and you feel like it's too much information, you can just, you click out of it when you don't need it and you click back into it when you do. You can clearly see updates from me there. I make sure that the weekly forecast is there so that if you need to come back here for anything, and I give you really good insight on how to read this and how to use this information with links within each description. So I hope you really do take part in this experience so that you can really follow along with the energy closely. Our moon tracking guide has also moved here so you can see the full moon, the new moons, the last quarter moons, what other energy they're connected to. Everything is now in one easy place. So you don't have to print anything and you can kind of journal on your own time in your own way and follow along with this, how it best suits you. Okay, our weekly theme is Gate 23, splitting apart. The Gene Keys, it's all about the alchemy of simplicity. In Human Design, it's the knowing circuit. And in I Ching, it is mountain over earth. Okay, so let's cover this. We're going to go over all of the Gene Keys at once, but I want you to remember the term alchemy of simplicity, okay? When it comes to the Human Design, this is all about the knowing circuit, the power to live as yourself. So again, I'm thinking authenticity right off the bat, how authentic you can be in your expression during this energetic transition is what our theme is here. With I Ching, it's mountain over earth. Mountain is all about stillness, meditation, inner stability, self-mastery. By remaining still, you avoid reaction and can see clearly. This is not passivity, but powerful non-action. It's all about boundary and containment. The mountain also signifies it's like a place where energy stops and turns inward, okay? think about this giant rock force sitting on receptive earth, and this idea of this strong structure of stability within the yin of earth, this void of feminine energy. So it is inner strength. All right. And the idea that stillness is not passivity, I don't know why I can't say that word, but powerful non-action. I think that's really going to be the secret sauce to getting through this week. Learning how non-action, because it does feel so active to not act, right? Now, in human design, this is all about the throat. So we're covering the throat chakra, major throat energy. This is where the concentration is going to be. And I'm finding this really cool as I go through this experience of working on this daily and weekly energy forecast, because I mean, I don't know how rare this is, and I don't think it is something that's happening all the time, but because I've checked further weeks, but this month especially, we're going to be traveling through the throat chakra. So all of the energy for the next 3 to 4 weeks will be covering the throat chakra. So there are 11 gates that connect to the throat chakra, that connect it to the stomach, to the brain, to all of these other areas, okay, to the pineal gland. And this is from into the heart chakra, or the magna pole, I'm sorry. And so we're going to be experiencing gate 23, gate 8, gate 20, and gate 16, all connected to the throat chakra. So I really do think uh, throat chakra exercises can be very important this week. If you go to my blog, I'll make sure that I have this linked. I have a chakra tuning course that's free, where you use your voice to clear your chakras. I'm thinking that's going to be really important this month, actually, not even this week. This whole month is going to be a lot of throat chakra work. So ensure that you're massaging your throat chakra. At Lului Skincare, my herbal wellness and skincare brand, we have something called the emphatic massage oil that features arnica, geranium, wild thyme, and it's a massage oil that I've been massaging my throat every night. You can massage your throat and your lymph glands in your throat, to really bring in clarity to this area and work with the throat chakra as we go through this time. This is connected to, again, the throat chakra is connected to communication, manifestation, metamorphosis, and transformation through interaction with the world. So as we go through we're working on our communication skills so that we can better interact with our 3D reality. This is going to affect everyone uniquely and divinely, but let's look at how it's going to affect each one of our different categories. Okay, so again, if you go to my website, if you need your human design chart, and you might, go to my website and you can put in your birth time and your birth date there right on the home page. It'll be in the bio again, and you can get your free human design chart, because you need to know if your throat chakra is defined, undefined, or open, because I'm going to read for all of them. Okay. And whether they are, it's going to tell you how you're going to feel this expression based on this information. So the defined throat chakra is taken on by 72% of the population. Although we assume when we speak that we are expressing the thoughts of our mind, what we communicate is actually determined by the 11 themes of the gates in the throat center. The throat is the energy hub for messages coming from all parts of the body graph. It transmutes and directs how that information manifests in the world as communication and action. Potentially, the throat can express or act directly from 6 different centers: the Anya, the solar plexus, the heart, the G, the sacral, and the G was our focus last week. The G was our focus last week, connected to this throat chakra, the sacral, and the spleen. The healthy throat center speaks from its reliable source of definition. For example, a throat connected to the heart center speaks from the I, as in, I want that, I have that, I will do that. If the throat is connected to the Anya, That's your pineal gland. One speaks what the mind is thinking and conceptualizing. If the throat is connected to the solar plexus, one speaks or acts on emotions or feelings. If the throat is connected to the spleen, one speaks spontaneously from an intuitive knowing in the moment. If the throat is directly connected to the sacral, one speaks and acts on the responses, sounds of the sacral. Now, this is connected to me. If you're a manifesting generator, it's a lot of a lot of noises are how we interact with our environment and our stimuli. It's very interesting. I'm just thinking about that. If the throat is connected to the G center, one speaks from personal identity and direction, from the higher self. Therefore, the mark of a defined throat is the consistent but limited way it reliably expresses itself. Those with the throat center defined to a motor can always do, and that's in quotes, or manifest, but it does not mean they always should. Having a throat center connected to a motor can fuel the urge to be impulsive, to succumb to the tendency to talk too much or do too much and give energy away to every impulse. When they confidently and comfortably rely on their strategy and authority and know where their voice comes from and when to use it, people with defined throat centers can manifest their truth with ease, honesty, and clarity. So automatically that is for those with a defined throat chakra. Okay. Now, 28% of the population have an undefined throat chakra. Okay. So the undefined throat chakra, the not self theme of the undefined throat chakra is trying to attract attention. People with the undefined throat chakras throat centers are afraid they won't be noticed. I'm saying chakra, it's center, they're the same idea, okay? This throat centers are afraid they won't be noticed. So their not self mind jumps at the chance to think up ways to attract attention. They can easily succumb to an amplified pressure to talk, to act, to make impression, to interrupt, or to be the life of the party. They don't realize that the open throat naturally attracts attention. And if they wait, invitations to speak will come to them. In this way, they will receive the proper attention at the most opportune time with no need to waste precious energy doing or saying something to move the process along. As long as their authority agrees that they do have something to say that needs to be said. By reducing the urgent pressure they feel to speak, they reduce stress on their vocal cords. If the amplified pressure to speak that they experience in their undefined throat center has been conditioned by someone else's throat definition, what they will say will be unpredictable and probably poorly received by others. Over time, they can become fearful of opening their mouths. Feeling out of control and unable to communicate effectively can be most disturbing in our highly verbal culture. This is remedied by those with open throat centers gaining confidence in their strategy and authority to guide their conversations and learning to understand the whys. This center functions at a mechanical level in their design. When around others with a defined throat center, they may feel uncomfortable and end up doing most of the talking just to relieve the extra pressure. They also spend a lot of mental energy figuring out what they are going to say next, only to be surprised and perhaps uncomfortable when they say something completely unexpected. The dilemma is that they cannot plan what they will say with any consistency. The healthiest approach for open throats is to stop trying to control what they say. They are designed to speak spontaneously and to enjoy the different voices or forms of expression that come through them. They understand that they do not need to do anything to attract attention. Though they feel the pressure to speak, when they are with others, they are relaxed and comfortable with their natural state of silence. They know that if they wait, the invitation and proper timing to participate will present itself. Their wisdom is recognizing who is speaking and acting from their truth or not. It's not comfortably oriented by their strategy and authority. They can become preoccupied with the question, how can I attract attention? What am I going to become in life? Trying to figure out mentally only leads to poorly timed decisions and abortive actions, putting pressure on their thyroid glands. A completely open throat is most rare as the throat center has 11 potential activations. People with this open configuration have no idea what to say or what action to take. For example, children with an undefined throat center may take longer to learn to talk and should be encouraged to speak at their own pace. When the not self in either children or adults dictates how and when to attract attention, talk, and act, they will find themselves speaking with a voice borrowed or conditioned by someone else. The result is saying the wrong thing at the wrong time or being ignored altogether. The resistance they meet builds over time, affecting both their self confidence and their thyroid function. Once they are comfortable with the flexibility and unpredictability of their speaking and confident in their authority's guidance, the considerable wisdom potential of this center emerges. Among other things, they will know who articulates well and who is speaking with authenticity from their own journey. The golden rule of the throat center is follow your strategy and authority, and the timing will always be perfect because the primary function is manifestation through communication, expressing who we are, what we are thinking, feeling, creating, or learning, what we know or want to contribute, and what we have seen or heard and can say to empower others. It's all about attracting the attention that is necessary to achieve the manifestation. And it's how do we manifest to make ourselves known to others in unique ways so they can respond to or interact with what we are saying and doing. Through communicating before acting, we can see beforehand what is viable and what isn't. It's crazy. Like, this is a major theme, is learning how to communicate. And I think right now in the world, this is something that we are doing rather poorly. Uh, Learning how to say the right thing at the right time in the right way is a gift, which we will cover with the gene keys, that we are all looking to perfect, I would say, because if anyone is trying to sway an opinion right now, and I feel like a lot of people are, you come up with such opposition, less because what you're saying is wrong and more because of how you're saying it, when you're saying it, all of these other components that happen to be a part of the communication. It's not necessarily the truth behind what you're saying or the facts on the ground. It's all of these other layers of communication that are stacked on top of that truth that only primarily, supremely come from you because they always filter through the throat chakra. All right. If you imagine that every single ounce of energy goes through the body as a filter, okay, and each chakra or center filters that energy that's coming from the primordial field, and in filtering it, we then project it out. Every single thing that comes from the primordial field has to go through the throat chakra to be said. All right. So, but it goes through this vessel, this MP3, this CD of information that has belief systems and ideas and fears and strengths and a mission and a weakness and judgments and all of these other things stacked on top of it. So when the primordial field or force goes through the throat chakra, it's not speaking purely. All of this other stuff is stacked on top of it. Even now, whatever I'm saying, there's so much more behind what I'm saying than what I'm saying, just based on the idea that I've got thoughts and beliefs and my own vision of things and my own history and my own perception that is always automatically, because I'm the package delivering the information, my information comes with that package, whether you want to receive it or not. And this is why we have religious wars, right? Because interpretation of words is incredibly critical, incredibly important, incredibly difficult. And if you look, it's like, say, look at the Bible, for instance, it's like, well, God said it to him, but God didn't say it to you. God didn't say it to this other guy. And when God said it to him, how did he filter it? What was his filtering process? And it's the misconstruction of all of communication that has got us all in this mess that we are currently in. Not being able to know how to express ourselves without offending, belittling, berating, ignoring, uh having the other be wrong, is where we lack in our current form of communication. Now, this is where I want to stop and move straight to the gene keys, because I want to go over again, the major theme here is the alchemy of simplicity. So, the shadow of this energy that we will be experiencing this week. So, if you find yourself here, know you're in the shadow, and you know, based on the gene keys, how to get to the other side of this expression. All right. But you will have an overwhelming, or we will have an overwhelming urge to express ourselves, but not with the right words or at the right time. When you lack self awareness, you cannot hear yourself because you don't know what's going on inside of you. That's the shadow of this energy. It's like, the person who always says, like, this says the thing that's so like, why would you say that right now? Like, don't you, like, the temperature is off. Why would you just throw everything out like that? We've all been there when you said something, you dropped a bomb, and people are like, bitch, what? Excuse my French. Like, this shows up for people in two major ways. Either dumbness, you become absolutely tongue-tied. You now like spew nonsense or bad small talk. You're talking like, just people are like, what? You can't really get your point across, okay? People don't understand what you mean. And it's like you because you've been so oppressed and worried that you will be attacked for your speech, you have nothing to say. Your real words are being blocked. That throat chakra is blocking you from communicating. Okay. This can also show up as verbal diarrhea. So I would say when you come in it from the place of dumbness, there will be a literal slowing down of the chakra. I would say it would be spinning left, slow, or almost stopped. But if you have an overactive chakra, if it's spinning too far to the right, then you've got verbal diarrhea. You're talking and talking and talking in circles, and you never actually land the plane and get to the point. Okay. These people too. So, speech versus interpretation is why, like, this is so important. We've got to learn. It's all about learning how to say the right thing at the right time. And the only way to say the right thing at the right time is be in the right space at the right time in the present moment. And like, that message flows through you, and it's not a thought projecting. When you have the filters of human design, okay, and recognize that, energy is flowing through your chakras, but it also has a organization of how it flows through the body and what other information it needs before it moves to other information. So by the time it's gotten to the throat chakra, if it's flowing through, like human design says, if you have a defined throat chakra, it's flowing through a very specific place. So you have, your words are either coming from you thinking and speaking, you imagining and speaking, you intuiting and speaking, you feeling and speaking, and this trigger to speak, this filter is through that other chakra. Okay. If it is an undefined center, let's say, a portion of it is there, but it's not a full channel, it's not all the way open. I'm sorry, it's not all the way defined. Then you have a portion of this. So, your throat chakra is connected to your pineal gland and your third eye, but it's not fully, something else has to come in to spark that flux, to spark that action, to drive that motor, let's say. While if you have an open center, then all the energy just flows through it freely. All right. Now, this is all about how we allow that information to flow. And when that motor is expressed in the present moment, if we do so from the I'm saying from the heart, and I'm saying from the higher self. I'm going to tell you more. I'm saying from the quintessence, actually. When you do something from this higher authority, the words that you're trying to say, it almost acts like a magnet or a lock. It does something different than when you do it from the shadow. When you do it from the shadow, it separates. When you do it from the higher authority, it brings together. And we'll talk about that next. Now, the shadow for this is called complexity, and it's all about the simple mindedness of human beings thinking that the world is so complex, or everything has to have this strong, it has to be hard, it has to be a puzzle, it has to be difficult, right? It can't just be easy. And this idea that we latch our minds onto complexity so our minds have something to do all day, has a place to play, right? But in reality, nature is actually very simple. Very simple. Okay. It's the easiest path every single time. If you look at how water flows, if you watch a flower grow, or if you see in this video here, if you're watching this on YouTube, I show you mold growing, okay? It takes the easiest path, it takes the shortest amount of energy, it takes the quickest expression to expand itself out and to take up all the space that is available to it. It takes up all of its max potential evenly in all directions. If you've ever, I was picking lilacs this week to do perfume for Luluti Skincare. If you'd like to know more about that, subscribe. That's in the bio. That's in the description. While doing so, I was looking at the way that the lilac grows because I want to draw it, right? And just it's so organized, the growth, the way that the stem comes up, and then these different major stems branch off, and then they branch off into smaller stems, and then those smaller stems create the flowers, and each flower's petals take up exactly this broad distance and leave just enough space for the other one to fit just absolutely perfectly, while also leaving like the perfect amount of boundary between each one, taking up just the right amount of space. And I thought to myself, if this one flower petal clump, if this was a human being and each of these individual petals were expressions of an idea, our career, our love, all of these things that we say that we want, all of these houses, all of these potentials in astrology, and these stems or clumps of petals were each one of those houses, and these individual petals were all of the potentials we could fulfill, and we actually fulfilled them, we would have so much going on, we would be expressing ourselves so much. A flower expresses every single petal fully all the way before it decays. Are we expressing ourselves fully through our voice is the question that we are being asked here, okay? But to do so, it's so much simpler than we can understand. Okay. When you are at the lower frequency, we are in fact out of sync. The more complicated individuals tend to make things, but the more in sync you are, the more in harmony you are, the more simple things become. You become more simple. Your mind becomes more simple. Your space becomes more simple. Your strategy becomes more simple. You start thinking like, that was so easy. Why didn't I do it like that? Well, that just makes a lot of sense. And you have this ability to speak more clearly, to communicate more precisely. And this is all about conserving energy. There's a lot of conserving energy in nature that I've been witnessing. And I want to say that as individuals who are focused so much on consumerism and waste and uh, just think about how much energy and distractions, right? And all of these things that fluctuate our energy. And if we were a battery pack and we could be charged every night, how much would we be drained, right? Based on all of the distractions, based on all the other stuff that isn't necessary, where our energy is just being wasted. Nature does not like to waste energy. Nature is very good at conserving energy. And this is something that each of us, I think, have our own journeys with in every single way, from abundance to just like all the ways of our lives. When we simplify it, when we reduce the clutter, when we release ourselves from this jargon, we have a freer life. And it's very interesting. And it's like when you see the clutter start to disappear from your life, when unnecessary people leave, unnecessary situations, when the drama of the everyday doesn't move you and you feel life getting more simple, that's how you know that your energy is elevating. You get more space between your thoughts. Your mind becomes more space. That is that Jupiter energy of expansion, being allowing more space to bring in more potential, to bring in more. Okay. It's a portal. So when you think about this, I want to have a short discussion about Jupiter and Gemini, which it is, okay, in astrology. There is an expansion in communication happening. To properly expand communication, to open up and make more space with Jupiter, one needs Uranus. And the sun, if you saw in that image, if you're watching this on YouTube, that sun is getting closer to Uranus every single day. That's where we're headed. We're headed toward this drastic change. Uranus, that has been in Taurus for the last 7 years, will be leaving Taurus in July. Okay, we'll be leaving Taurus this year. It will come back for a little bit with the retrograde, but it's leaving Taurus for good and going into the next sign, going into Gemini for the next 8 years. Okay, this energy of change in Taurus, change, earth values, mountains, like earthiness. Change on earth can be an earthquake. Change on earth can be a lightning strike. It is ripping up the terrain. It's redoing the garden. It's changing the flesh. It's metamorphosis, right? That's what we're going through. And as the sun moves closer to that energy this week, the ideas and beliefs and items that are cluttering your reality, you got to make them more malleable and movable so that Jupiter can make that space. So whatever Uranus comes in to shock, alarm, shake, stomp, move, or release, let it go. Don't hold on to it. Don't be too rigid with it because it's only making space for Jupiter. It's only making space for Mars and Venus and all of these other planets to do their jobs. That change is necessary for the next level of the evolution. And what is the next level of the evolution? This is all about quintessence. Okay, that is the Siddhi. That is where we're going. All right. If you see this on the YouTube, there is a Buddha there. Okay, so let's go into what the word quintessence means. It's a noun, the purest, most concentrated essence of something, the most perfect or typical example of a quality or class. Okay. In ancient and medieval philosophy, quintessence referred to the fifth element, ether, beyond earth, water, air, and fire, that fifth state of matter. Okay. Some also say plasma, believed to be the divine substance that made up the heavens or celestial spheres, also called the fifth essence. It was thought to be incorruptible and eternal, what stars and planets were made of. The root word is quinta essentia, fifth essence. Quinta, fifth, essentia, essence or being. From the word to be is essence. Okay, so it is the fifth. To be is like the fifth essence. I think I'm just going to keep going and then I'm going to tell you what I think. It carries deep resonance. It means the fifth being, something beyond the physical, pointing to spirit, soul, or divine substance. Energetically, it points to that which is eternal, untouchable, and most true. Okay, so when I think fifth, I think the five petals. I think the five states of man. I think the head, the two arms, the two body, the bipedal man, which is the most common form throughout the universe. If you know anything about interdimensional beings, human is the most typical form throughout the universe. And that is who I think that is a part of that quintessence, is that we radiate or reflect a portion of that, something about the reflection of God. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's the essence that we came in with. Okay. I keep getting this image of like a biohazard box where someone's on the outside with gloves that go through the box to play with something. And that as humans, if you think of the human body, if you think of it as just a form, a spacesuit, a machine, okay, like it literally is the only way you could actually traverse Earth. That's what I want to talk about. To get to the idea of quintessence and the idea of what this energy or this essence truly is, we have to know what we truly are. Okay, so you come to Earth in this and you get into this suit and you literally grow with the suit. So you get an organic vessel that we're going to call the human body. It is made out of all of the minerals of Earth. It comes from Earth. You grow with this vessel. Your consciousness enters this vessel through the life form of the planet and births you into it through it. Okay, that's how you get here. You travel your consciousness through a portal, and the spacesuit has all of the senses for you to be able to participate and enjoy the currency that is Earth. You get to taste food, you get to smell flowers, you get to swim in the ocean and feel the water on your skin. You get to see a hologram of information turn into form, sit on the chair that was in your mind that you created with form, while reading the newspaper that you imagined in your hands. Okay, it is like the ultimate 3D reality game, right? The body is just the suit. Okay, when you leave this scuba suit, you could go to another planet. Their air might be different, their food might be different, their water is going to be different. You're going to need a scuba suit there. If you imagine yourself leaving Earth right now, outside of your body, leaving this scuba suit, this hair, this race, this eye color, this height, this weight, if you leave all of this behind, this job, this role in your life that you do here on Earth, and you eject from the suit, aka death, astral projection, out of body experience, whatever you will say, and then you decided you were going to go to another planet right now and you were going to put yourself in a suit there. Let's say you can put yourself in any suit. Let's say cryogenics is real, right? And that there are frozen suits everywhere and you can just pop into one. Okay? What parts of the quality of that suit are still you? What parts of the quality are the suit? What parts of you leave and eject this planet? What essence? That's the essence. That part of you, so much more than a human body, so much more than a race or a gender or a height, so much more than a weight or an idea like a job. None of those things actually, you're none of them. So what else are you? That is what speaks. That is what is looking to communicate through you. It doesn't need the avatar to talk. The essence is seeking to fully communicate through the avatar 100%. That is why it is here. The avatar is just a way for it to pick up something or to drop something off, to drive to a place on this planet, to convince someone of something. It's all about this character that allows you this essence, this other thing to actually traverse a space and in a time. Okay? So I want you to consider your essence and what that is doing. Are all of your heart's desires being expressed? Okay? The real you, the person that you forgot, the one that is still asleep, right? And as you explore the essence that is you and you release yourself from the avatar, you cannot help but be in awe because you focus your attention in a direction of yin that traverses you through a portal to discover more of yourself. Okay. And when you discover more of yourself, when you enter this entirely uh, deep, dark, knowing, mystical, primordial field, what happens is you become so in awe with the actual field that more of your energy has a chance to move through. You are in Buddhism. This is why this is called Buddha fever. That's what he calls this energy in Gene Keys, because the Buddha says you go the middle way. Okay, let's say the right hand goes towards science and the left hand goes towards poetry and artistic pursuits, right? Each of those have an end, an atrophy, because they exist on earth. Like, those are roles. Okay, the center is this space where you are just a witness to everything in creation in awe of the mystery of it just being, watching it unfold, not seeking the end, not judging what's happening, being able to watch creation unfold. When you actually pay attention, you notice the magic of creation and you become in awe with the majesty of it all, and that is what alchemizes the actual principles of awakening. But you cannot force it. It happens within its own time. Now, once you have been to that space and experienced that, you come back with that sensation and you seek to bring that version of heaven to earth, right? That becomes your mission, right? And when that becomes your mission to bring that version of heaven to earth, you get this ability when you allow that quintessence to fully flow through you to unlock that ability in others. I've been there. That is what we call the holy instant in A Course in Miracles. When your avatar is completely out of the way and you connect with another individual and you are able to unlock an awakening within them by asking questions that move through you that aren't from you, something magical alchemizes that causes an experience that opens and awakens another individual. If you try to force it, it'll never work. But that is the point of the voice. That is the point of communication. It is to go around ensuring that we help people on their individual journeys through our communication. When we do it properly, it works simply in that direction and we don't have to force it. It flows. So for the next 6 days, this is the energy that we are going to be focused on. This is our theme. Okay. Now, the funny thing about communication is got a lot to do with what you're communicating. And to know what to communicate has got a lot to do with your judgment. And to know where you are judging, this has got a lot to do with the gate of assimilation in human design. This is another part of the theme. The awareness and understanding that leads to the acceptance of diversity. Okay? Allowing other people to be is one of the first key awarenesses that is necessary prior to communication, because it opens up a space for people to be different and to not necessarily have to be right or wrong. So the form of communication automatically releases the judgment level, I think, that is there. But I'm going to read this to you. The gate 23 is where inspiration as inner knowing is finally translated into language. Its amorality, acceptance of diversity, and ability to cut through mental intolerance opens the way for mutation to take hold in the world. Expression through the gate of assimilation initiates us into a new way of thinking. Here, your new, unique voice can finally say, I know what you know or don't know, will always attract the attention of others, but can always keep you on the outside looking in. Sorry. Here, your unique voice can finally say, I know. What you know or don't know will always attract the attention of others, but can always also keep you on the outside looking in. Insights that are potentially different and transformative require that you communicate their essence clearly, which is why I had to go back and repeat myself. If your unique perspective is truly to be of value to others, you must wait for the right timing to speak and explain it in a simple and accessible way. If you don't, you will be dismissed as a freak. It is also important that you speak only what you truly know. Over time, your genius will be recognized and you will earn the respect of others. Without gates 43, conceptualizing, which is the gate of insight, in order for achievement to be maintained, a new order must be fairly established. Without that gate, you may experience mental anxiety as you realize that you don't know exactly what it is you know, leaving yourself open to misunderstanding and dismissal. So, this week, watch what you say. Okay, and say what you need to say, but don't say what you don't need to say. And in doing so, you better speak from what you actually know. As we go through these days, we're going to go through proselytization, which is all about not, I mean, technically, it's like, preaching. It's being on the soapbox. Self-defense, having to argue. Individuality, tribalism. uh Fragmentation, separation, you know what that feels like. Assimilation, trying to fit in just to fit in, not because you either have to decide that you're going to try to fit in phony like, or not try to fit in and others and attract to you. And then fusion is when you realize, people get to be who they want to be, you get to be who you want to be, and like there's growth in learning how to properly express yourself and attract what you need to attract. So this is the energy ramp up that we'll be experiencing from the 10th through the 15th. Let's look at it from the I Ching perspective next. Now, in the I Ching, this is connected to splitting apart. That is the name of this energy. Remember, mountain over earth. And I find that energy interesting because first line of this is like that heaven line, and that heaven line kind of represents upward energy, but the rest of the lines are yin, which is downward energy. But if you think about something splitting apart, it's like this one yang of expression, and these five yins pulling that energy down of intercontemplation. That expression is kind of isolated by itself, not really supposed to be there yet, right? So it's not really fully integrated into the yin. So it's hard to hear, hard to integrate, hard to bring that masculine into that feminine. Okay. But remember, we read these I Ching upside down. So day one is slander and intrigue. Now, the way that this is being read, it's got to do a lot with the gossip of the field. And now it's not actually go down like this, but I'm going to read you the I Ching. Splitting apart. Things are not the way they seem. Reality appears to be a hall of mirrors, intrigues, and multiplying like summer flies. And there are rumors of discontent. It is the time of illusion, disintegration, distrust, and deception. When you find yourself trapped in a hall of mirrors, it becomes necessary to retrace your steps. Return to the familiar. Take solace in what is firm and secure. There is no blame in holding back. Indeed, it is your responsibility to keep your strength intact for the period of revival that follows the period of disintegration as surely as dawn follows the night. Discretion is the best part of valor. Good timing is critical. Learning to choose the proper moments for action, thereby avoiding futile effort. Pay close attention to changes that signal a time to retreat. Again, they're focusing a lot on energy conservation, okay? In the realm of personal relations, discovering illusions can be painful and confusing. During a period such as this, it is wise to avoid undertaking bold new moves. It is especially important not to jump to conclusions when you sense that nothing is quite as it seems. Now, as we go through these days, we're going to go through everything from slander and intrigue all the way to experiencing misfortune, holding the line, to atrophy of whatever negative forces were taking place. Again, if you're following daily with the calendar, you'll know exactly what to do each day of these energies. And I offer even more insight on how to traverse and use this energy for good, partnered with information on the moon's placement, the sun's placement, and everything all together. And right before we go, I would be amiss if I didn't add the Sabian symbols, those daily degrees of the sun, to this. It just seems so necessary. Okay. Now, again, when you look at the daily calendar, you will see each Sabian symbol for the day with full explanations. But here I'm going to go over the theme of the week with the Sabian symbol based on these daily themes for the next 6 days. Okay. So first we've got, willing participants with unseen spiritual forces. Willing participation with unseen spiritual forces. The need for balancing guidance with self-determination requires the ability to read the mysterious symbols in nature. Improving upon nature by channeling aggression, we become capable of full participation and acceptance of community responsibilities. So, this is all about, it starts with wind, cloud, and haste. Troubles brewing, Stay tight, stay close. You've got to participate in the alchemy of awakening via the nature of the situation all falling apart. Okay. You've got to be able to be there while the situation clears itself to expand itself. You need to balance with guidance and self-determination. So a finger pointing in an open book is going to be about, it's about trying to look at all the psychic symbolism of this, which is funny because we are looking at all the psychic symbolism of this, but you can't put you can't cast your pearls before swine, they say, or I don't even know if that's the right saying. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. I think the point of this is to study this information and observe it. Do not try to forecast and predict how to play this energy out of whatever is going on. Sit tight and hold the line, because the next day is all about the white dove over troubled waters, and it requires the ability to read mysterious symbols in nature. You've got to know how to sit still and allow nature to speak to you. That's what that tells me. Because you actually have the ability to communicate. The jewelry shop, the jewel is you. You have the ability to improve upon nature and to know what nature is trying to say, and to do it properly to another person. It's all about when you channel your aggression, the mounted Indian with scalp locks. It's about this Native American conquering, okay? Because sometimes the warrior has to fight, right? The warrior cannot feel good about fighting. You have to learn how to, when you win a battle, you do so because you have to, and you should be mourning, not celebrating, right? But occasionally a battle has to be won. Whatever this energy is, you might need to step up and speak out and speak up for yourself in a way that is empowering. Okay. And that will be where you know if you conquer or not, and how well the community accepts you for that ability to do that will be something that will show up later. Don't do it for that reason. But speaking your truth with true authority allows you to be a person who either is going to win that battle, or you're going to lick your wounds and surrender and succumb. We'll talk about that as the week goes on. But again, I want you to observe this energy and with popcorn, instead of trying to participate and allowing it to thrust you about. That is all I have for this weekly energy. I hope this helps you traverse the week. You can sign up for the calendar at the link in the description. If you are interested in joining me for an astrology retreat that is going to be happening in Northern Michigan in the fall, I am still taking people's names on the list. I have a couple things to finish with finalizing the menu and the itinerary, because I'm trying to get you guys to design this book there. And I got to get a lot of information around this. So I'm still planning this party out. But if you are interested in joining me and learning more about yourself, your mission, who you are, what you came here to do, please sign up for that. That information is at the description in the bio. And if you want to integrate more, learn more, dive into more learning, I've got a lot of stuff coming to the blog. All of the energy course is actually going to be offered for free on the blog. I'm going to be releasing that information starting next week. So please subscribe to the blog. You have to be a subscriber to actually get into that blog, because there's such good information that's coming there, and that is there. I don't want it to just be willy-nilly free for everyone. So just all you need is your email address. It's not that big of a deal. But that is what I need from you. So have a very fruitful week. I hope you use the calendar for all that it is worth. I hope you have a week that feels empowering, and that you find on this mission. We're on this mission to find our voice. So I hope that you ride this momentum and are able to do so. Again, I am Candace with A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles. I hope you have a fabulous day.